This is Salam Radio, Peterborough's Muslim community radio. Broadcasting on 106.2 FM and online.
Good evening, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to a very special edition of Drive Time with me, Akil, live here on Salam Radio 106.2 FM. Tonight we're diving into an issue that's become more urgent and visible than ever, Islamophobia, and how Peterborough is responding to it. On the 20th of May, the City Council formally adopted a new Islamophobia statement as part of its anti-racism agenda, 2 years after a motion was first tabled. It's a big move, bold, necessary and overdue. But let's be clear, a statement isn't the finish line, it's just the starting gun. Words don't stop hate crimes or workplace bias, implementation does. I'm joined tonight by two key people involved in this decision. Abdul Muqaddas Chowdhury from the Joint Mosque Council and Adrian Chapman from Peterborough City Council. We're going to unpack what's happened, why it matters, and most importantly, what comes next. So here's the official definition adopted by the Council. Fear of and or prejudice against Muslims or perceived Muslimness, whether it be due to expression or otherwise of their religion, direct or indirect acts of discrimination against Muslims, either on an individual basis or as a community due to their religion. This includes microaggressions, hate crimes, online abuse, stereotyping, workplace bias, and systemic discrimination, all of which Muslims in the UK experience daily. So, Abdul Muqaddas Chowdhury, what has the last 2 years been like for the Joint Mosque Councils during this process?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much, first of all, inviting both of us here on the Islam Radio. It's been going on this definition of Islamophobia for years. In Peterborough City Council as well. A motion was passed many years ago, but unfortunately nothing materialized. And similarly, in the central government, they set up an all-party working group to again get a proper definition of Islamophobia. But again, whatever it was political, whatever reason, it was never implemented, and no proper definition was really made on that one. And during the last two years, I think it was like even more than that one, Joint Mosque Council have been working with the Peterborough City Council, people like Adrian Chapman. We have a regular meeting quarterly of Joint Mosque Group, which is not only Joint Mosque Council, but also various stakeholders, Peterborough City Council officers, constabulary, schools, colleges, universities, and various other people. And we've been talking about that one, how we can at least, at Peterborough level, we can get this definitely sorted out. Obviously, we have no control centrally, but at least we have the power, we have the control, we can do something centrally. And as a result of that one, at one of our meetings, we decided that we need to get a proper definition, and we set up a seminar at Jackal School in November 2023, we set up. And we invited various scholars from outside of Peterborough, and they gave us a graphical, proper definition, say what was the incident, how it was happening, what was happening all around, and how the Muslims are being the victim of this Islamophobia hate crime. Mm-hmm. And that was about 2-hour seminar, which was attended well over 200 people.
Yeah, I recall that actually because I was there. Yeah. I remember seeing you.
That's right. I saw you there as well. So as I say, there were many from Peterborough City Council, councillors, and there was well over about 30 police officers from Chief Constable down to Constable, you see. They were all there from schools, from colleges, yep. And all, as you can see, they were, you heard and you saw it there as well, all these people. And everybody at that time were really affected, I can say that, when they saw the videos and all these things, how the Muslim has been attacked. And at that time, I proposed that it's no good just seeing the videos and listening to the speeches. We should set up a working party to say, draw up a definition. And as a result of that meeting or seminar, of course, in November, we then set up a working party again, a various stakeholders, Joint Mosque Council, people like Adrian Chapman, he was co-host with me on all these meetings, and various constabularies, schools and the people, about 15, 16 people, and we drafted not only one but several drafts. We drafted about Islamophobia definition, and we took note of the various other people what they were suggesting about it, and amended it. As I say, various drafts were approved. Then again rechange it again. All these things you say. We involved member of parliament as well, and various other people. We involved them. And at the end of that one, when everybody agreed and their points were taken, amended, deleted, whatever it was, then this was presented to the Adrian Chapman, and he obviously presented it to City Council. And I think a couple of months ago, their Ethnic Constituent Committee approved it. And then I'm really pleased and glad that Peterborough City Council unanimously, that was really remarkable, that there wasn't any political lines, Labour, Tory, Liberal, Community First, all of them unanimously approved this definition. And that is the outcome of the definition.
It's great. It's a great achievement. I must agree with you. Adrian, I guess one of the obvious questions, I guess, to ask you, is why was this statement necessary and why now? And, why has it taken 2 years to get to this point?
Yeah, thanks. And thanks for having me here. Real privilege and pleasure to be with you this evening. Assalamu alaikum to all the listeners. And thanks to Mr. Chowdhury for his patience and good partnership over the last couple of years. Why now? I guess, Peterborough has always enjoyed fantastic community relations. We haven't seen a lot of the disturbances that other towns and cities have had to endure over the last few years. And when the far right did try and disrupt Peterborough and bring hate to our city, we said no thank you. We turned our back on that, and the community across all faiths and none really rose up and came together to celebrate all the good that exists in Peterborough. But the sad reality is that just like any other town and city, we know there are examples of hate that do occur, and even if it's one example, that's one example too many. And the seminar that Mr. Chowdhury and the Joint Mosque Council arranged a couple of years ago was incredibly sobering. Actually, we did hear, as he says, from a number of very educated people that are very skilled in this area of work, community cohesion, community liaison. But we also heard some real life examples from victims of hate, and it is hate. It's whether it's verbal or physical, it's vile. And to listen to those stories and not feel something, you'd have to be a very difficult and hard person, I think. Yeah. So, just one story like that, I think, is enough to inspire change, and that's what we have tried to bring about here. It's taken a while, I absolutely agree, but I'm a great believer in things happening for a reason, and I think the product that we've got today, and you read out the sort of headline statement from the document that's been agreed unanimously in full council. The document is much richer as a result of waiting, in my view. I think if we'd rushed this, we would have ended up with a great piece of work, I'm quite sure. Would it have been as widely understood across the organisation, my organisation, as this one? I'm not so sure. Would it have had a long life? I'm not sure. Importantly, would we have had the opportunity to bring into the conversation all of the other partners that we brought around the table? Mr. Chowdhury's very capably listed them, but the university, our health partners, the police, lots of Jack Hunt School, lots of organisations that really bought into the whole concept of a one city, one approach, anti-hate mantra that has led us to this fantastic outcome.
Yeah, you've answered another one of my questions, which was essentially, this is great to have so many partners on board. Essentially, I was going to ask you, how does this link into your wider anti-racism work within the council? Do you feel that this will impact policy and hiring and service delivery?
100%. If it doesn't, we've failed. I was going to say that the easy part is the words, but actually that's in some ways to get to this point has been difficult for very positive reasons, and those reasons I've already shared. It's about getting it right. It's about getting the right people around the table. Actually, crafting the words needs to be done so carefully and sensitively. So a lot of the work started a couple of years ago. The meeting of full council, which was a week or two ago, was a milestone for sure. But as you rightly said in your introduction, Akil, this is now the beginning of the next phase. And the next phase has to be about embedding those words into our council's business day in, day out, number one.
Yep.
And number two, embedding it across the city. It's really important that this statement is understood and shared and hopefully adopted by a wide range of organisations, not just the public sector, but also private business. And in the council, that we use it to start to think very differently about how we engage with all of our residents, in this case, our Muslim friends and workmates, and start to reflect in our workforce the same demographic profile that exists in our city.
Okay. Do let me know if you have any questions for Adrian or Abdul Muqaddas Chowdhury this evening. You can call us on 01733 602 133 or text the show on 07411 191 062 or comment on the live stream, Facebook, YouTube, X or Twitch. And obviously people already started doing this without even giving the shout out. Those of you who are watching online, I've got a question immediately coming in for you, Adrian. It says, what are you going to do? This is from Mr. Mahmood. What are you going to do to encourage the implementation in the City Council, police and NHS? And what plans exist to work with local schools to include Islamophobia in PSHE lessons?
Fantastic question. Thanks, Mr. Mahmood. Good evening. So the first thing to say is that when inside the council, when a report goes to full council, it's already gone through a significant number of discussion points and consultations, both with senior officer groups as well as with a wide group of members, councillors, in other words. So the full council meeting itself is the end of a fairly lengthy process of sharing the words, the document, the report that went to full council. That's our way of making sure that everybody understands what we are signing up to as a local authority. And I'm not surprised, although I am delighted that full council voted the statement through unanimously. But it was as a result of all of that work that goes in advance. So we're already starting off on a really good, strong footing, in my view. It's well understood in the council that this is something we've adopted. My job now as the relevant director is to make sure that we develop a proper plan for delivery that touches all of our services. And if you think about the council, you know, there's hundreds and hundreds of different services we deliver, from emptying the bins right through to running the coroner's service, or to making sure children have a school place, or looking after older people. So all of those departments will have a response that they will need to develop to make sure that they're adhering to the narrative that's set out in the statement. And this isn't just about responding to hate and Islamophobia, as you hinted at, Akil. This is about using this as a vehicle for starting to really build even stronger relations with our Muslim communities than we've already got. We already have some fantastic relationships, but they need to be even better. And I think the work with, just to quickly comment on the work with schools, so we work closely with all of our schools, clearly, in the city. Jack Hunt have led the way, I might say, and all credit to them. They've been along our side on this journey, haven't they, Mr. Chowdhury, since we started? And I think they're a bit of a beacon for how to embed this work. And we'll be working through our schools forums and our Director of Education to try to make sure that this features heavily across all schools in the city. Okay, and I guess to try and understand why this is needed, you just have to look at the data, okay? You know, there was 5,837 anti-Muslim incidents recorded in 2024, highest ever by Tel Mama. 73% rise in Islamophobic assaults last year. Muslims were targeted religious group in England and Wales, 38% of the religious hate crimes in 2024. And I can tell you today, okay, as you know, it's Eid tomorrow. Eid in the Park was cancelled because of the good old British weather. And the People Telegraph shared an article, and within a few minutes, there are people writing disgusting Islamophobic comments right the way through there. And in my mind,
of course, I was going to see you, lovely gentlemen, this evening. I was thinking to myself, it's so rampant. You know, Saeed Awasi mentioned some time ago about how it passed the dinner table test, right? Islamophobia. Now, you know, if you go on social media, it's literally there in front of you. And me, myself, I was a victim of a Islamophobia crime. I was due to speak at that event in 2023, but I had a sore throat. But yeah, it was in 2016 where through social media I was targeted, and it was a horrific experience. But the police were great, and the person was sent to prison. And but it wasn't, you know, I didn't think at that time what was going to happen next. But now we're living in a society where you have the far right who feel like the Muslims are getting everything, okay, and they're the perpetrators of all types of different crimes. You only have to look at the attack in Liverpool recently, where, you know, the police had to come out and say this was a white British man. And even within that, the comments that were taking place. And then you have a community that's living in fear, is misunderstood, right? But it's also a very, powerful, community that takes part in society, right? So, you know, it's a difficult situation. I guess the next question really for you, Adrian, and and I'm sure Abdul Qadir Chowdhury and his team are going to hold you to this as well. I'm sure this question you've already asked.
He will.
But, what tangible changes will residents see in the next 6 to 12 months? It's great that we're talking about this. It's great that we've got the definition. I've got loads of questions coming in right now as well, with people asking me. I'll ask you this to you as well, which is, will businesses and corporates in Peterborough have to promote this too? So those two things, what tangible changes are we going to see? And I'm assuming you asked this question.
Yeah. Can I just say, Akil, on this one, as you asked earlier on about why now? We all can see how the right-wing extremists are rising everywhere. In Europe, most of the countries, and not only, sadly, in UK as well. You can see UK reform, how they're gone up. The Tories are down, they're gone up. So this is the reason the hate crime, as you just mentioned, your figure, is going up and up. And situation like Gaza, like what's happening in other Muslim countries, that also increases all these things. So this is the reason is to do something now rather than doing nothing at all. And we understand that there are difficulties and all these things. What we're trying to do is, we're not going to just leave in one basket. That's only city council role, and they will do it. All over John Mass Council with John Mass Group, you say, we are working with other organizations as well, what I say, stakeholder.
Okay.
Like we're having a meeting on this month, 25th of June. We have a meeting, special meeting, just talk about this one, not talk about, we're going to see how we can implement it.
Okay.
It's not going to just talking and having this piece of paper, how we're going to implement all this what's been done. And for that reason, the top person of the constabulary, chief constable, superintendent, and chief inspector, they are coming. We invited them as well. From the city council, not only Adrian, but there are 3 other directors also coming apart for chief executive as well. We invited the schools as well, Jackal School, other schools. We're inviting other organizations as well, health, all those people who can some sort of effect, you say, and they can really prevent this Islamophobia. So we are inviting all these people, stakeholders, and say, it's not only just talking it, what are you going to do?
I understand that.
How are you going to implement it?
Let me take that from you then, and I guess with you as chair of the Joint Mosque Council, do you feel like there will be hurdles in place in the organisations that work with you, like mosques, for example? Do you feel like there will have to be an education side of things to empower mosque users about what sources, services are available to assist them?
Well, this is again something we will be talking with the Peterborough City Council, we're talking about the funding. But we're not working with John Mosque Council, we're working with many other Muslim organizations. We also work with the other faith groups as well.
Okay.
Bishop of Cathedral, you say, she was invited, she came to our fast day when we fast, you say, Once in a year, in the month of Ramadan, all these key people, what are VIP people, fast for one day, and then we have iftari at the end of the day. And there were about, this year alone, there were about 25 people, you see, all the top brass, chief constable.
Okay, my question.
Our idea is to get these people on the board,
Yeah.
work together, you see, on the various faith, various communities, whether school, colleges, universities, and the Peterborough City and Constabulary, and see how we can really change the whole thing as well.
Yeah, okay, I take that from you. But I'm thinking of myself as someone who's not in your position. I'm going to be a mosque user, or I'm going to be someone who's part of the apparatus within the city. You know, how will I know what's taking place? You know, your teams will be having these conversations at this level here, and again, going back to what tangible changes are we going to see, and have you got a budget, Adrian?
You don't always need a big budget to make magic happen. I think we're a well-resourced public sector body. Let's face it. We always complain that money's tight, but there's a lot of money that the council has access to. We need to use it wisely. Fair enough, but money cannot be an excuse for doing the right thing for our residents. And for me, the right thing. The product of the right thing, the outcome of the right thing, is making sure that you're using the example of mosque users who have always been nothing but charming and welcoming, I have to say, to me and my colleagues in every setting we've ever been in. But a good outcome for me is that they feel confident that actually there is depth behind these words, that they can report a hate crime or a hate incident and know that it will be taken seriously. I believe that is the case now, but I know that confidence is sometimes not where we want it to be. I want our Muslim communities to feel that if they apply for a job inside the council, that they have got absolutely the same chance of getting that job as the next person. That access to services is in no way limited because they happen to be a Muslim resident. It's crazy that we even have to be talking like this, but that's
I agree.
A good outcome.
Okay, so with taking that on, then, are council departments already receiving training? If not, when?
Yes, so we have a really fantastic lead officer in our organisation for overseeing all of our equalities, diversity and inclusion work. So corporately, if you like, she's providing advice to all of our departments. We run a monthly mandatory training programme. Every single officer inside the council has to complete a mandatory training programme. It's one theme each month, and one of those themes will be the subject of Islamophobia, hate more generally. There's already been a whole raft of hate-related training and development activity, both within services. So adult social care have had some bespoke training around hate, including Islamophobia, as well as the whole organisation. And then in my own directorate, we've got a small communities team that many of your listeners will be familiar with. Some of those officers, they live and breathe this stuff, and their job is to really act as the champions for getting the message out there and making sure that no community is left behind.
Great. If we have a situation within the council where someone has behaved inappropriately, will they be held accountable for Islamophobic behaviour?
100%. I mean, we have to lead by example. We're a public sector, publicly funded body. People should look up to the council and see the council as a kind of beacon of good practice and moral standing, good standing, and absolutely.
Do you feel that the Peterborough business community is going to adopt this quickly, or have you already tried to speak to organisations? How's that going?
The private sector is interesting on this one, isn't it? And we have largely so far focused on our public sector colleagues, health, police, fire, and so on. But the private sector clearly in Peterborough is huge and employs thousands and thousands of people. They're providing services to all of our residents and our visitors. So very much the next phase is to engage with businesses. We've got some brilliant businesses in the city.
We do.
Small and large.
Yeah.
And they, I know, will be queuing up, I suspect, to buy into and sign up to this work and join us around the table.
So in your eyes then, Adrian, over the next 12 months, are you saying that tell me what's your vision? I've got a couple of minutes to the break, so What's your vision from today over the next 12 months in terms of implementation in the city?
I think 12 months, I would say that we would have every single member of the council, including our councillors, having gone through at least a level of training and development to understand Islamophobia in all its forms and what it means. I would expect every directorate in the council to have developed its own action plan for delivery against the statement. So what are they going to do to live and breathe and make sure this work is embedded? I would expect that all of my senior colleagues have engaged with all of our Muslim leaders in the city, visited all of our mosques, made sure that they're familiar with what's going on in the city. The chief executive has already done that. We need to make sure all of our other senior colleagues do. And after 12 months, I would expect to start to see the balance of the profile in our workforce start to change. That we, the number of complaints we receive around Muslims not being able to access services reduce. So some very tangible outputs. And then I think you look beyond that to some really exciting developments.
I hope so. We're heading towards a break right now. Live in the studio here with Adrian Chapman from Peterborough City Council and Abdul Muqaddas Chowdhury from the Joint Mosque Council. We're discussing the adoption of the Islamophobia definition. Do stay tuned. We will be back after a short break. Keep sending through your questions as well. I've got many to get through. Speak soon.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.
It's healthy, nutritional and halal. It's The Lads, your first choice for burgers, pittas, wraps and flame grilled lamb chops and peri-peri chicken. Now with 5 fantastic new flavours, plus sides, grilled salads and milkshakes too. Open daily from 11:30 until 11 p.m. Call in at 15 Cowgate in Peterborough. Order for collection online at thelads.co.uk or by calling Peterborough 562287 or place your Lads delivery order at ubereats.co.uk.
Home or business, protect what matters most with a bespoke security system from H-Secure Tech. CCTV, intruder and fire alarms, and access control too. 5-star Google-rated H-Secure Tech install them all, with 24-hour and mobile app monitoring, keeping your business safe and your loved ones protected. To discuss your specific requirements, call 01733 590 201. or visit hsecuretech.com.
Fancy the true taste of Middle East and Kurdish food? Asia Restaurant gives you the unique fusion of flavours from Turkey, Iraq, Syria and Iran. Eat in at 5 Fitzwilliam Street, Peterborough, PE1 2RU. Or order through Just Eat, Uber Eats or order through our website, asiarestaurant.co.uk. Call us on 01733 562 530. Asia Restaurant, the true taste of the Middle East.
Moving house? Feeling overwhelmed? Boxes everywhere? Ivat Self-Storage can help. Our secure, clean and modern facility, Peterborough's preferred choice, gives you the extra space you need with 24/7 security and easy access. So instead of tripping over boxes, store them with us and breathe easy. Visit Ivat, spelt IVATT, selfstorage.co.uk today. Because moving is hard enough.
Craving top quality fried and grilled chicken without the high price tag? At Sam's, we make every bite unforgettable. From juicy chicken to mouth-watering burgers, taste why we're the best in town. Visit us at our brand new restaurant at 33 Westgate in the city centre or our second spot on Lincoln Road. Prefer delivery? We're on Just Eat, Uber Eats and Deliveroo. Sam's, serving up amazing chicken across the UK for over 30 years.
Need a taxi that won't break the bank? Amar Cabs offers safe local rides at affordable prices, starting at £3.99. Get to Heathrow for £120 and London Stansted or London Luton for just £88. Private school and executive business class drop-offs are also available. Booking is easy. Go to www.amarcabs.com and download our app on Android or iOS or call 01733 555 888. Wherever you're headed, Amar Cabs is just a tap away with reliable, affordable rides starting at just £3.99.
Craving authentic Desi flavors? Look no further than Desi Restaurant. From midday until 1 in the morning, enjoy our homemade specialties that will transport your taste buds. Indulge in tantalizing papri chaat and savor the rich charsi kadahi. Treat your friends to our fresh 1 kilogram Jersey lamb handi. Plus, get 2 12-inch pizzas for $11.95. Located at 298 Lincoln Road, we deliver from lunchtime until 1 a.m. Call 01733 555 795 now to order and experience Desi Restaurant's flavors.
You're listening to Peterborough's community radio, Salam Radio. Salam Radio. 106.2 FM.
Good evening, welcome back to Drive Time. I'm your host, Akil Khalil, live on Salam Radio 106.2 FM. In the studio with me, I have Adrian Chapman from Peterborough City Council and Abdul Muqaddar Chowdhury from the Joint Mosque Council. We're talking about the adoption of the Islamophobia definition. You can get involved in the show by calling us on 01733 602 133, or you can text the show on 07411 191062, or comment on the live stream, which a lot of you have been doing, and I'm going to get to your questions. Of course I am. So do stay tuned. Do keep those questions coming in. Adrian is a very important person in the council, and do ask any questions you like, and of course Abdul Qadir Chowdhury as well. So we've been talking about the implementation of this definition and all of the hard work the Joint Mosque Council and other organisations, the councils and etc., who've all got involved to bring this about. Now I've got a question that's just come in from a Mr. S. He hasn't completed his name, but he says, what was wrong with the national APPG definition of Islamophobia? Why did Peterborough feel the need to create its own version, and why was this adopted by Labour and the Liberal Democrats and the councils, not the Conservatives? Why did Peterborough have to have its own version? Didn't this risk turning into a political issue rather than a shared one? Mr. Chowdhury.
Well, the reason is that, as I said, there's nothing been properly defined and approved by anybody else. That is the reason.
But it was accepted, though.
Well, but not implemented.
Yeah, that much I do agree with you.
This whole thing is, there have been all this may be accepted, whatever it is. The question was never been implemented. And what we're trying to do is now make it simple. We could have written several pages, but we cut it down to this about 1 page. The whole purpose was to make it simple, straightforward, so everybody can understand. Our aim is now to make sure it is implemented. As you already mentioned, we already explained it, that we are inviting all these other people, all the stakeholders, to make sure that they implement it clearly.
Okay,
one of the sad things about this Islamophobia is, whereas any about other religion or Christian Judaism, they have this prison sentences, all these things, but there is no law, there is no real punishment for a hate crime and Islamophobia.
Okay, so what I've taken from you there is the reason why you have adopted this version in Peterborough is because you're seeking implementation.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line, right?
That's right.
That's the bottom line. Okay. Adrian, will there be a published roadmap with deadlines and targets?
100%. I'm saying that a lot tonight, aren't I? Because you're making my job very easy in a way. And I'm relieved. You're suggesting all the things that I think have to happen if we're going to truly deliver on what our councillors have adopted here, and that has to come with a very public version of a plan. And I think that's important, not because it's just extra bureaucracy and to prove we're doing something, but actually what we're trying to do here is to build confidence in the community. And we all know that hate exists. You've already shared some of those awful statistics, and we know whilst there are national stats, it's happening still in our city, and it could be perpetrated at any point in our lives. It could be the person you work alongside, it could be your neighbour, it could be even a relative that suddenly decides that hate is appropriate. Mm-hmm. And the only way we'll really root it out is if victims of hate have the confidence to stand up, raise their voice, and they'll only do that if they see that public servants like me, like my police colleagues, other public servants, listen, hear, and respond. So it's got to be a bit of a joint effort. This, but the way to start that, I think, is to publish a very clear plan with some very clear deadlines.
I agree. And just taking into account what you're saying about the police, the council, schools, etc., I think this is also a role for, and I'm sure you're already doing this, but I think it's really important to highlight this as well. From a community perspective, it's already difficult to report many things. Yeah. And I like the fact that you mentioned confidence, but I think that also will be a part for mosques and madrasas and Islamic schools and people at home to be able to say, this is something that happened to me at work, or this is what's happened to me in the school, and they can go to inside a mosque, for example, and go to an imam and say, look, I feel like I've been a victim of a hate crime, and can you help me? And so I guess the relationship between yourselves, all the other organisations, the Joint Mosque Council, and everybody now has to be transparent. It needs to be education-led. There needs to be services, and like I mentioned before, it needs to be visible. Okay, and I think that's the key element here. From some of the things that I've seen that have happened in the city previously, really great ideas have come about, but we don't see visibility where someone feels the confidence to walk up to you and say, Mr. Chowdhury, I was at school, this is what happened to me, and know that you will say, okay, let's go do something about this because there's X and Y, Z, this framework is in place, we will receive that support.
Well, this is something, Akil, is not with our city council, it is constabulary matter. We had several meetings with them, and when you mentioned the figure, you say, and they said, no, we only had a few, you see, reported to us. And our concern was the way the system is. But complain online, all this law is so complicated, some of the people cannot do it. Make it simple. Have this some sort of reporting system in the mosque, in madrasa, somewhere else, you see, where people can come and comfortably can say, somebody like me or other people can help them to fill the form, do all these things. And we said that one, unfortunately, it hasn't been implemented. They say, yes, it's a good idea, but unfortunately, that hasn't been implemented.
Why not?
This is exactly what we want to do again. But so make it simple, make it easy for the people to complain. So when the constabulary give us the figure, you say, well, this means there was only probably half a dozen complaint of hate crime or Islamophobia. And the reality may be probably 50, 60 or more, you say. Because the system is so complicated and ordinary people are not able to do it. Just complain, you say, And that's how we want to make it simple, easy for them.
Do you think that's going to happen now that you've got this definition?
We hope it. That's what
you hope. Well, let me give you a stat then. 42% of UK mosques have experienced a religiously motivated attack in the last 3 years. And you're saying to the police, help us make this easier. Give us a system inside a mosque where people who wouldn't ordinarily go to your police station and report this to you, and they're still not moving. Adrian, surely this is an issue. This has to be thrashed out, surely.
It does. I mean, I can't, and I clearly don't work for the police, and I can't speak for them. What I will say about our constabulary is they have been absolutely fantastic on this journey, very dedicated, very committed. The Chief Constable attends a number of meetings and engagement events with our Muslim communities. Himself and his senior officers know the expectation is that they follow suit. So I absolutely won't sit here and criticise them. I think they've got a very difficult job to do, and I think if they were sitting here, they would agree with Mr. Chowdhury. They can't act if reports aren't coming in. Yep. They also know that confidence needs to be built. People need to be able to trust the system that they're reporting into. We used to have, back in the day, something called hate crime reporting centres. That they fell out of favour, I guess, as things do. One of the tangible things we should and could be doing is reinstating those for the purposes of reporting Islamophobia. That might be in mosques, it might be in workplaces, it might be in the library, wherever it is that we think people might feel safer to report something. There's also the Tell Mama reporting line, which is definitely something we should continue to promote, and you've quoted some stats from there earlier. So I agree entirely with Mr. Chowdhury on this. We've got to make it simple, we've got to make it easy, and I believe if the police were sitting here, they would agree wholeheartedly that we've got to help them build the right picture in order for them to be able to respond.
I totally agree. Data speaks.
This item is going to be on the agenda of the meeting I just mentioned to you on the 25th of June.
As a priority?
Precisely. That's because that's the reason we invited the Chief Constable, Superintendent, Chief Inspector there. There are 3 chief officers of constabulary in the local area, And this item is going to be on the agenda apart from a few other things as well. So this is the reason what we just saying to you is we discussed it before, but this time now we're going to say, no, it's not discussing it, damn well implement it. And we hope that this will be something which they will have to follow it, because the pressure is building up on them as well.
It certainly is. I'm going to play a track now to hopefully bring some of the pressure down in the studio.
Masisondele, masisondele, phila noxolo yelele.
Subhanallah walhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. Subhanallah walhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. You can say it once or 100 times or more. You'll feel at peace inside and it'll open every door. That's the power of remembering Allah. It's the best way to purify your heart. You know you will be loved by the merciful one. 'Cause that's the power of remembering Allah. Subhanallah walhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. Subhanallah walhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. So much you can gain just by saying those few words. You can renew your faith and be showered in reward. Oh, that's the power of remembering Allah. It's the best way to purify your heart. You know you will be loved by the merciful one. 'Cause that's the power of remembering Allah. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. Subhanallah walhamdulillah wallahu akbar.
Masisondele, masisondele kuyuwala. Okukhulu kusitho, sizothola ukuphila. Tholothina, tholothina.
That's the power of remembering Allah. It's the best way to purify your heart. Oh, that's the power of remembering Allah. It's the best way to purify your heart. You know you will be loved by the merciful one. 'Cause that's the power of remembering Allah. Subhanallah walhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar.
And that was Maher Zain with The Power. I hope you enjoyed that. Do get involved in the show. You can call us on 01733 602 133. Text the show on 07411 191062. I really should know this off by heart. I do so many shows on Salam Radio, and I always remember them at home. Yeah. Anyway, you can comment in the live stream, Facebook, YouTube, X, or Twitch. I would love to hear from you. Adrian, as you take that sip, of water. I've got a question in here from Tracy. Tracy's saying, what happens if a racist incident happens tomorrow? How does this definition help in real terms?
Thanks, Tracy. Thanks for the question. And it's a great question because, you know, life doesn't stop whilst we work out how we embed a statement. So I think, you know, if an incident happens today, tomorrow, the next day, waiting for, you know, the results or the outcomes of implementing something like this is a bit of a fool's game. I think, you know, we have to. There is already a system in place. If a race-related incident happens in the workplace or in the community, there are already existing reporting lines. So I would urge anybody to report, however you feel about and however confident you feel about reporting. Please report, because unless we get the data, unless we get the stats, we can't build a picture. Over time, what I hope and expect will happen is that you won't think twice about reporting, and you might at the moment. I think as the policy embeds, you know, at the moment, let's take another example. So in the council, we naturally have very, very clear statutory duties around disability and age discrimination and gender discrimination. For me, and indeed race discrimination, but I want Islamophobia to feel as natural and automatic in terms of our responsibility and response against that. And, you know, this plan and the work we'll be doing with the Joint Mosque Group and with all of our Muslim residents will get us to that place. So if it happens tomorrow, please report it. And if only one person does that weren't going to do it today, that's great as a result of this conversation.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you. I mean, data speaks is really, really important. We can't build any type of service if we don't know what's happening. You know, the work that you do at Joint Mosque Council, outside of what's happening here with the Islamophobia definition, what other services or events do you do that help to encourage non-Muslims to learn about Islam?
Yeah. Thank you for asking that important question. We do quite a lot. To start with, most of the mosques have these visits from schools, colleges, various other people. And that's again one of the problems. I know there are certain people who are racist, but there are quite a few people who are ignorant. They totally don't understand what Islam stands for, what Muslims stand for, and so they have a misinformation from the gutter press. And our idea is to bring them to the mosque, whether they're youngsters, whether they're older, whoever they are, and we explain to them what Islam stands for, what Muslim stands for, what does it mean. Islam means peace. There's 1.7 billion Muslims around the world. How many of those are terrorists? They always say there's some incident happen. If a Muslim does that one, Islam is terrorist, you say. But they never say Christian terrorist, Jew terrorist, Hindu terrorist. They never say that one. This is the mythology. And that's how to create this thing there. So what we're doing is we're having these mosque visits, you see, from many people. It's not only the mosque alone.
Like that, visit my mosque.
Visit mosque. Not only just visit my mosque, it's open once a year, you see. It's a regular one.
So this is a regular
one. We have, let's say, 400-500 visitors each month.
That's great. That's great.
And similar thing that. And apart from that one, this one mosque. And it's not only for the students. I mean, only I think 2 weeks ago, we have a senior citizen, 25 people of senior citizen, all over 70, you say.
That's fantastic.
And ask them the question, you say, how many of you have ever put a foot in the mosque?
Yeah.
No one.
Exactly. I like this because you're dispelling myths, aren't you?
That's what we're trying to do. We got, next month, we got people from university coming, you say, there, and again, same talk to them.
Fantastic.
Apart from that one, we have a seminar where we again, AD knows that one. He's been attending many of those other seminars where we non-Muslims are invited, and we talk to them. And not only talk to them, we ask them the question. Ask them directly.
This is great.
Whatever your concern is, whatever you want to, fear is, don't hesitate. We have a meeting with the police, new recruit the police, you say. We had that one not long ago, you say, about 25 of new recruit, neighborhood police as well. And again, I said, open, frankly, whatever you want to ask us. We will not be offended. But it's no good just keep in your mind, you say, what you have, and ask us and we'll answer to that.
No, I agree with you. I like this because communication is absolutely key.
Vital.
And it's not just, you're right, it's not just about Islamophobia. It's more about society. You learn more from each other by talking to each other. And again, then when it comes to strategies like what you're looking to implement here, there is a relationship that's already been built, and then you can impart that knowledge, vice versa, to try and deliver, change. I think it's really important. I've got lots of messages coming in, and I need to share these with you. So we've got Isra Ahmed on Facebook. He says, excellent work taken by Adrian on diversity and equality issues within the council. Keep up the good work, Isra. Thanks for the comment. Well done.
Thank you, my friend.
There you go, Adrian. Right, so I'm taking everything into account here with what we've discussed from the Joint Mass Council, and of course with yourself, Adrian, from the Peterborough City Council. I guess one of the things that I have in my mind at the moment really is that, yes, you're going to have this implementation, you're working on a roadmap, you're going to have a strategy in place, but will there be any published yearly records of your progress? Is this something that you're going to do?
I think that's a great idea.
Am I giving you ideas?
You are really giving me ideas. You're going to ask for some commission, aren't you? I just know it.
I told you what that was during the break, and it wasn't expensive.
You did, yes. Do you take card? No, seriously, I think that's an excellent idea. I do. It's the same theme that we were talking about earlier, isn't it? It's communication, it's confidence, and that will build if people can see real action happening. And if one way to do that, and one of many ways to do that, is to publish out the results of our actions and our activities, then that's exactly what we should be doing. So I think that's a great idea, and I'd welcome any others for that matter.
Do you have? This is good. I'm glad you've taken my idea as well.
Thank you.
Do you have any fears, Adrian? Is there something, as you've gone through this as a senior leadership team member, at that level, do you have any fears about other organisations, non-Muslims, not willing to engage?
I don't. I'm Peterborough born and bred. I love my city, our city. I'm really proud to be a Peterboroughian, and I know Peterborough has its challenges, but so does every other town and city. And I go back to what I said at the start of this evening's conversation, and that is that we should celebrate all that's good about Peterborough. We have way more in common with each other than we have differences. We're all human beings, we're all living in the city, we're all trying to get along, we're all trying to get by. It's a tiny, tiny minority of people that try and choose to disrupt that. So as far as Peterborough is concerned, I'm immensely confident that this will be a lasting piece of work that will extend across all sectors. I am naturally concerned about what's happening in the world, and anybody with a heart should be. And we see sometimes the effects of national and particularly international events on our communities in Peterborough by either association or because friends and family are tied up in international incidents and so on. But we've always responded so well in the city. We've always stood up together and said, this is our response to these incidents, whether it's war or terrorism or anything else, natural disasters. In Peterborough, I think more than anywhere else I've ever seen in the country, we've stood together and stood firm. And for that reason, I am confident that we will do something very special with this piece of work. We should not underestimate what we've achieved already, and where we can take this, I think, is huge.
Okay, taking that on then. So we've agreed this evening that there's going to be a roadmap. There's going to be publicised strategy, results of how far you are, what else is required. Is the JMC going to be part of this, or will you be also sharing information other than the council about what the progress is? Will you be holding the council and other organisations to account publicly?
Yeah, we hope so, because we are going to be putting considerable pressure on these people.
Yep.
Not only the city council, but I keep saying constabulary is more involved in tackling the hate crime and Islamophobia.
I appreciate that.
I know, but our pressure is going to be on that one.
Okay.
First of all, make it easy. And the second, one of the problems the community have, they always complain. They never get a feedback.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody complains, what happened to it?
Yes, that's right.
Has anything been done?
Yeah.
So they don't tell us, you see. So they admitted that one. it is our weakness, and we will inform the people, you say. So make it easy to complain. Anybody this might take some time, you say, before it's implemented. But in the meantime, there's a current system which we have, is that we want to make sure that is properly implemented, and there is a proper system working on that one, so people feel confident, somebody reports it, and the constabulary can report them back, you see this up. And similarly, I've said it before as well, it's not only in workplaces, there are many other institutions, you see, where this sort of thing happening. In workplace, in health department, and various other areas, and we want to involve all of them, and want to make sure they have a system where these things are really get rid of these Islam, hate crime and whatever in their institution.
Okay, taking that on.
That's what we're trying to do, you say.
I get that.
Put a maximum pressure on these people, organization.
I get that, but what will the JMC, what will you guys, what will you share?
But we will share the information which the public inform us.
So you will do that with the community. Okay, great. Okay,
If people come to us, you see, and this is again, we're going to make it easy, that people tell us, there are many incidents, we already tell them. They don't go to the police, they don't tell us, but they come to us.
I've run out of time.
So we tell them.
I've run out of time. Okay, so just to agree, there will be information that will be published regularly from Peterborough City Council, and there'll be information that will come from the JMC about how far you're going on this journey. Okay, that's great. Thank you. Okay, so that's the end of the show. The hour's flown by so quickly. Thank you for all of the questions and your comments online. Really, really do appreciate that. Let's be clear. Adopting a definition is not just justice. It's not protection. It's not safety. That only comes from consistent, accountable and measurable action. Tonight's guests have given us an insight into what's being planned. Now focus turns to delivery. The Muslim community and all marginalised groups in Peterborough deserve more than words. We'll be watching closely and checking back in. I hope to have you both on air with me again